All right. Hello, everyone. Uh, my name is Trumpetmcool, and today we're going to be talking about dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. I've always been fascinated by them. They're these large, gigantic creatures that existed before us, or existed in the world, and I've always been interested in them. And like, I used to play the game Ark for a good while, and you could ride dinosaurs, and yeah. Um, so they're very fascinating. And on this channel, we talk about things from both a scientific perspective and a Christian perspective. So I feel like everybody's just trying to find truth. They're just trying to make sense of what exists, like what evidence we have, and just trying to find a path forward so that we can figure things out. This is a very interesting topic. I thought it would be easy, like, let's talk about dinosaurs and see what science has uncovered and what Christians believe. But it really depends on your worldview of how old the Earth is. See, if you believe that the Earth is billions of years old, then fossils evolving over time makes sense for why it started out with water creatures at the bottom and land creatures on top. Nope, not that one. Yeah. So, water creatures down on the bottom, and then more land creatures up top. You're also led to believe that these big dinosaurs, who are pretty high on the food chain, had to have had some way of like dying out. So some scientists, most would agree that there is a meteor that came and wiped them out. So that's if you believe that, but if you believe that the Earth is not millions of years old, then you're led to believe that, everything had to come into existence at a specific time, and a catastrophic event, a flood, had to have taken place so that. Because you can see that there are fossils that are found in perfect form. There was one fossil that's a fish that was in the middle of consuming another fish in its mouth. So when you search on Google for like if dinosaurs and humans existed at the same time, then you're probably seeing it through the lens of what the article, what their point of view of how old the Earth is. Yeah. I wanted to get that fossil of the fish. I just didn't have time to get it to show it to you. But yeah, so let's talk about dinosaurs for a minute. So when did dinosaurs live? Evolutionists claim dinosaurs lived millions of years ago, but it is important to realize that when they dig up a dinosaur bone, it does not have a label attached showing its date. So that scientists have to come up with different methods for determining how old a bone is. So here are the different types of dinosaurs. So this was the first dinosaur discovered as Hypsilophodon foxy, discovered in 1849. Let's see if I can do a quick Google search to see what this looks like. Hey, let's go! Oh, cool. Cool, Kishu. I think I may be able to wrap it in if you do. So this was the first yeah, cool. Lived, scientific name. Cool. 44 pounds. The Tyrannosaurus rex, first described in 1905, this tyrant lizard king still holds the crown as the largest and most fearsome terrestrial predator, so not being, but predator, ever discovered in North America. The sauropods, lizard feet, included the largest land animals in history. And there's a newly uncovered dinosaur. It had horns about 3 feet long. Just so cool about dinosaurs. Oh, cool. So we have this like order of how we think things happened. And like you can see the grouping of here's the different time periods: Precambrian, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. The cool thing about what we know is I feel like the Grand Canyon is kind of like an eye-opening like key to what really happened, because it has a lot of different layers. Like you can see like different layers. You can't see my mouse, but I'm showing you the different layers. So there are 3 different areas, canyon areas. The Grand Canyon, which is this divot down on the right. And then you can see up above it says like the Chocolate Cliffs. And then Vermilion Cliffs, the Zion Canyon, and the Bryce Canyon. So these kind of like line up with different eras that scientists have created. So we have this like picture into like these 2 different perspectives, both the science perspective and the biblical perspective of the flood. So we go in and we can see like they think that the base of the Grand Canyon, so this is the Grand Canyon part, like at the bottom, the most I wish you could see my mouse. But like the Grand Canyon is like the lowest part, and so this is like they feel like this is when the creation week happened, and then we have the pre-flood. Nice, Donna. Pre-flood, like time before the flood, and then the time that the flood happened. So in this divot, the Grand Canyon, you have this time period. So then what about this next Zion Canyon? So we have or Vermilion, sorry, getting ahead of myself. The Vermilion Cliffs kind of show like stages that happened during the flood. Here's the early flood and the mid flood, and it kind of like shows you like both perspectives. It doesn't like say this is what it is, but this is kind of like from both perspectives. You can kind of see like this is the key. Like the Grand Canyon, I feel like, is really the key on what actually happened. And the Grand Canyon, if I have this right, is 277 miles long. It varies from 3,000 to 6,000 feet deep and 4 to 18 miles wide. So just this great chasm. Okay. And then here is the Zion Canyon. And the Bryce Canyon, which is the end flood. Dare I say a grand chasm? Yes, yes. So, so it's so cool. I want to say, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I wish I could go back the individual slides, but I could go back. Okay, so as we can see, we have like the Grand Canyon had both the start before the flood and during the flood, or like the beginning of the flood, and then the Vermilion and the Zion Canyon had during the flood, and the Bryce had after the flood. So Paleozoic, Mesozoic, Cenozoic. So Paleozoic, this was like the time that was like earliest, and so that we have like these water creatures that the water creatures would be the first ones that would be impacted by this, whether it was the it's just very interesting to think about how dinosaurs existed and like what took them out, and like so we may talk about that further in the Christian perspective, but I just think it's so cool that we got to hear about all different types of stories and legends of different things throughout the earth. So here we have a deeper, a better diagrammed picture of the Grand Canyon. Oh, sounds good. What, Wanderer? No worries. Glad you could stop by. So I read about this, and that these different layers exist throughout the entire Earth. You just have to dig far enough. So this red wall limestone, it also exists in Yorkshire Dales, England, and in Ireland as well. This is like the red wall limestone equivalent, and also in Nepal. Now, the bottom of this, remember this was like the beginning of the flood, I believe. Tapiet's sandstone. Here it is in the Grand Canyon. You can see it's at the, like, right where the Grand Canyon starts. It's so cool, like, getting to discover this, because now I know exactly. Alright, so the Grand Canyon is this actual bottom part. It's not the whole thing. But yeah, it's so cool. Here we have it in, I think that's Wisconsin. Chippewa Falls. Here we have Tapiet sandstone with a crystalline basement below it. And here in southern Israel, there's a Tapiet sandstone with a crystalline basement as well. So I think it's so cool that throughout the earth, there's like also stories of a flood and dinosaurs existing. So it's just so cool to like dive into all of this and try to process it all. All right, so this is the fossil picture of a fish that is in the middle of consuming another fish. So I would like to pose to scientists to ask them how on Earth can a fish be fossilized in the middle of a process of eating. Just kind of blows my mind that this would be pristinely fossilized in the middle of this. So yeah, thank you so much, Kishu, for sharing that. Rapid burial is a crazy thing, man. Yes. So before we were talking about the flood versus how the fossils were happening in either perspective, whether it's science, the evolution perspective, or the creation perspective. And I just wanted to show you a little diagram that was pretty cool. So if you are of the mind that there was a flood that covered the dinosaurs and all of the animals at a certain time and wiped out all of life, then here is like what we found in the fossils. So we were talking earlier about the different layers, and so here's the red wall limestone and the groupings that are found in the Grand Canyon. So here are things that we found in each area. So all marine fossils, essentially, as the floods came, they would affect the marine life first. So in the middle of the flood, increasing land fossils were discovered, as waters covered the land. And so you see all of these different land fossils that are found. And then here's the inflood. So things that were found at the top layers. So thought that was pretty cool. So here are the two perspectives. The evolutionists think that there have been one living cell, and then that split off into millions of years. Like over time, life would diverge into different things. But if you take what the Bible says about how things evolved, God created different kinds at the beginning in Genesis, and they expanded, and then a flood happened and it got reset. So from that, it branches off into what we know today. So, and you can see how certain animals have died off, and so I think that's pretty cool. Okay. So, dinosaurs in the Bible. As you add up all the dates in the Bible, you'll come to the conclusion that the creation of the earth and animals, including the dinosaurs, occurred only thousands of years ago, not millions of years ago. Thus, if the Bible is right, dinosaurs must have lived within the past few thousand years. So, let's see, is this Behemoth? No, it's Leviathan. So in Job, Job is talking back and forth to the Lord. The Lord said to Job, "Shall a fault finder contend with the Almighty? He who argues with God, let him answer it." Job says, "Behold, I am of small account. What shall I answer you? I lay my hand on my mouth. I have spoken once, and I will not answer. Twice, but I will proceed no further." So here he is talking about things that he has dressed for action like a man. I will question you, and you make it known to me. Will you even put me in the wrong? Will you condemn me that you may be in the right? Have you an arm like God, and can you thunder with a voice like his? And then later on he says, "Behold, Behemoth, which I made as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold his strength and his loins and his power and the muscles of his belly." So we think of different animals that have like a strong belly. So it's like an elephant or a hippopotamus. But it says that he makes his tail stiff like a cedar. So like a cedar tree. So that does not fit the description of a hippo or an elephant, for their tails are very small. So some commentators have suggested Behemoth was, but the description simply doesn't match. It appears God is describing a sauropod dinosaur and a fearsome, now extinct sea creature. So, either a sea creature or like one of the dinosaurs that had long tails. So I think that's really cool. And like it goes on to talk about the description of him. "Behold, if the river is turbulent, he is not frightened. He is confident through Jordan rushes against his mouth." So it's just so cool. The Bible talks about dinosaurs. And then here we talk about the Leviathan. So I do want to make a note that the word dinosaur, you're not going to find the word dinosaur in the Bible. But just the same as you're not going to find things like Facebook or, things that are current, like ways of explaining the world. And I think the first, the words that were used in the Bible were more akin to dragon and things like that. So here we have Leviathan, a large sea animal, exact identity unknown. Can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook or press down his tongue with a cord? We have later descriptions of Leviathan. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn. Out of his mouth go flaming torches. Sparks of fire leap forth. Out of his nostrils comes forth smoke, as from a boiling pot and burning rushes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame comes forth from his mouth. And like talks about how he's just this, if I couldn't say it better myself, but like a dragon. Says, though technically not a dinosaur, but rather a marine reptile that may have also been able to come up onto land, Leviathan can correctly be called a dragon which includes terrestrial, aquatic, and aerial reptiles. In the biblical book of Job, God challenges Job by questioning his ability to capture Leviathan and make it his servant. Leviathan is not a creature that little children can play with, and is too large for traders to sell. God reminds Job that if a man is even thinking of capturing Leviathan with harpoons or fishing spears, then he needs to consider the battle that will take place. If he does engage in battle with Leviathan, it will be the first and only time. It cannot be subdued by any man. This is a false hope, as he is laid low even at the sight of him. So, I just think it's so cool to see dragons and dinosaurs in the Bible. No, it doesn't mention all the kinds of different animals, but it's cool to see it mentioned. I think the term is mentioned like 30 different times for like a sea monster or a dragon type creature. But so those are dragons that are in the dinosaurs that are in the Bible. And then how we were talking about the Grand Canyon, how it had different layers of things, and like it's essentially like the key to unlocking either the millions of years ago or thousands of years ago. And if you take it from the perspective of the Bible as God's word, he talks about it in Genesis with the flood. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out man, whom I have created from the face of the land, man and animals, and creeping things, and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So, from this, the Lord commands Noah to build an ark, and animals come to this ark, 2 by 2. And I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. As of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Of the birds according to their kinds, and of the animals according to their kinds. Of every creeping thing on the ground according to its kind, 2 of every sort shall come in to you to keep them alive. So if we start with the Bible as the source, then we have this layout of it's being reset at the flood, and then each of its kind repopulates the earth. And so you can see like some of those don't continue on, and they become extinct. And that would be the dinosaurs. So yeah, I think it's really cool to talk about dinosaurs. I may do another topic of a specific topic on dinosaurs, or maybe like the age of the earth or something like that. But not a very long topic today. I just wanted to like bring up some perspectives, and I think it's really cool that even as Christians we can have an understanding of why things happen, like why in certain civilizations they all have a story of the flood, and they also have stories of dragons, and um, like even though they're myths, a lot of them are rooted in a truth. So um, yeah, I think it's a really cool way of explaining the way things are.